What's up, guys? Welcome back to Deuce Moto Cave. Today we're going to be working on the 250rx. We're going to be doing some maintenance on it. She's got about 41 hours on her now, and I want to tear it down and kind of look at it, and we're going to get the suspension done. And so we're going to be working on taking the suspension off today. Alrighty, guys, so we're going to start with the front end first. We're going to start with the front wheel, taking it off. Doing the suspension, it's going to be perfect timing because I just started having my fork seals leaking. So that's going to be perfect getting the suspension done. So first off, we got to get the covers off, all the plastics off the forks, get the front wheel off. We're going to work on getting the brake rotor off of it, and then we can remove the forks. So we're going to get started with that. So, what I like to do, you want to try to support your brake caliper here so you don't hurt your hose too bad. You can put kinks in it, and so you don't want it just hanging by the hose. So that's why we're hanging it off of a bungee cord there. All right, axle's next. All right, slide that back in, slide the nut back on so that all stays together. Easy peasy. So now we can finish taking these guys off. Don't worry, we'll use a torque wrench when we put them back on. Well, that was the easy part, guys. Now I gotta get the rear shock out of this thing, and that's gonna be a little bit hard. Alrighty, guys, so to get the rear shock out, we're gonna start with the seat, taking the side covers off, the side panels. I haven't taken one of these out of here yet, so we'll see how in-depth it's gotta get, but I have a feeling we're gonna at least have to swing the rear subframe out of the way, but we'll figure that out when we get there. Get the seat over here. The seat everybody loves. Get this guy off of here, maybe. There we go. Oh yeah, she's gonna need an air filter too. Good thing we got one of those. Alrighty, guys, so we're gonna take this down further than we would normally need to do for just the rear shock, because I'm gonna do some maintenance on the engine as well. She's got 41 hours on it. And all I've done is oil filters and oil and air filter. We're gonna do a valve adjustment and look at the spark plug and all that while we're here. So we're gonna be taking the tank and everything off as well. All right, so we're gonna have a hose underneath here. We got a connector here we gotta take off for the fuel pump. We're gonna take that off. All right, so we got the fuel line off, and there's a there's a connector here. And then Honda gives you this little lanyard type deal that sits right here that we'll let you put the tank on the side there, and we're gonna do a little bit more maintenance than that, so I don't wanna just have it sitting there. So we're gonna take the lanyard off so that way we can pull this tank completely and change it around. So we got to get that little piece off there, and then the tank will be free. So give me 1 second. We'll get this tank. Tank is removed. Hey guys, so my factory service manual says they want us to remove the whole rear subframe. We're gonna see if we can sneak this shock out of there without having to do that, but it may come to that. So we'll get this frame bolts loose and see if we can pivot it out of the way. All right, so our FMF exhaust is coming off there right now. We're gonna go ahead and take this off completely. We're just gonna let the exhaust hang out there for a second. We're gonna get it back on here in a minute. Just gonna loosen these top ones up. We're gonna take the bottom ones out, loosen the top ones up, and see what we can move here. Yes. Okay, we're gonna take the air box loose from the throttle body right here. We're just gonna take the screw loose there. And we're gonna see if we can pop that off. Well, we may just end up pulling this subframe. There is quite a bit of dirt down here that I kind of want to clean up and get access to. So we're just going to pull those. I'm going to pull the rest of the clips. We'll go through that here once we get it off, and I'll see what it's going to take. So both those are going to come out of there. And we'll see what follows us. Pop that off. In here and just kind of pop that boot off the throttle body. There we go. Glad to see the throttle body clean. Okay, so our vent pops off of there. Our crankcase vent popped off of there. And then we got to take our mass airflow sensor off. Let's see what else we got. We got quite a few stuff. We got quite a few things still hanging on here. So we're going to take this guy off here. Pop him out. There we go. We're going to pop this clip out. And we're going to take the, since the regulator rectifier is right on the side here, we're going to take that off as well. And so we can completely take this subframe off. All right. And all the bolts that we've been taking out so far have been 8s and 10s, other than those small little Allens that we've been taking out. Everything else so far has been 8 or 10 millimeter. So been pretty easy. So we're just gonna put those back in there. Put this little metal tab deal that's on the back there in there. Not sure what that's for. I've never seen that before, but we're gonna keep it where it needs to go, and then we'll clean all this up later. All right, so now this should be free. We need to pull this cover back. Pop this, because we got some wires that go into this thing here. And I need to get those out of there. Yeah, our ECU is tucked right in there. So that would be a fun job to get to if you had to do that. Any ECU work. We've got screws on both sides here, so we're gonna take this other one off right there. Should be able to pop that out. Pop this cover off here. It's a good chance to clean all this stuff. I've had a lot of riding, so yeah. So so it looks like maybe our starter relay, our fuel pump relay maybe, and then the ECU for the fuel injection and the rest of the bike. All right, so we got the ECU out now. It's just a normal rubber grommet that goes around the ECU and then hooks to these little guys. So we'll go ahead and pull that out, and now this should be free. So now the subframe's off the bike. I thought I could leave it. I can't leave the exhaust, so we're just gonna pull that spring off here, and we're gonna pull this whole exhaust so it just isn't hanging there, driving me nuts. So there we go. So the FMF that was brand new a year ago is pretty scratched up. We've been through some race miles with it, but man, I've been liking it. One of the main reasons I did it back when we did it was because it had a spark arrestor where the original bike did not. I just love the look of it, and I like the sound that came out of it. I didn't see any performance increase for those guys that were asking about it, if I could tell a difference. You know, there was some guys were talking about the ECU, if it needed to be remapped. I don't think with just the exhaust it would have to be. I think everything's been okay on it so far. So now we can get at the shock. That was our whole reasoning behind doing all this. So the shock is going to come out with these two bolts, or these two nuts and bolts right here. One on top, one on the bottom. Should be able to just pull this shock right out of here. and get that to the suspension guy and get it going. All right, so both of these are 17 millimeters, so top one, get that off of there. Bottom one, down here, same thing, right off of there. All right. Now we'll just work the rear swing arm up and down until we can get that bolt to come out. And now the bolt's out. You can get the bottom one out easy enough. Pop that one out. Boom. The shock is out. Time to get this thing sprung for me. Alrighty guys, so that was the removal of the suspension on the 2024 crf250rx. We had a pretty good race season last year and we put quite a few miles on. I'm gonna take this time, we're gonna do a couple more videos of just going through the bike and just cleaning things up. I've got some more accessories to put on it, some other parts. Want to get the suspension valve for me and sprung for my weight. I noticed with the 250RX when we were in the kind of slow, choppy stuff in some of the rocks that we were racing and stuff, it just seemed to get super stiff on the front end, and I was getting terrible arm pump and stuff, worse than I ever had before. We're gonna have a guy set it up that's close to us. He does pretty good work, Dan at Evo. We're gonna have just have him do the front forks and the rear shock on it, of course. While those are away, I'm gonna try and get more of the bike cleaned up, re-lubricated. Like I said, we're gonna do a valve adjustment up here. I have a factory Honda manual for it, and so it's set at 30 hours. We wanna check that, and I have not checked it yet, so we're definitely gonna wanna get in there and check the valves on it. And so we'll go through that process in another video. Other than that, the bike's been running good. I really like it. The pivot pegs, I guess I never did do a review on the pivot pegs either. So I wouldn't say that I dislike them. I definitely like trying them. I don't know if I'd buy them again. It definitely takes a little bit of getting used to, especially if you don't have boots on. I rode it around the first time without any boots on, and it was really weird. Once you have your boots on, it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit nicer. You end up not even noticing it anymore. But I don't know if they're helping me at all. So it was a cool experiment. We'll see. I don't know that I'm going to get rid of them, but like I said, I don't know that I'd buy them again. Anyway, so that's it for this episode right now, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, like and subscribe to Deuce Moto Cave, and we will catch you on the next one.